Hello, my friends. Brett Pattison coming at you from the financial capital of the West, Salt Lake City, Utah, joined by the chairman.
How you doing, Brett?
Brian, it's been too long since we've done a podcast together.
I think it's been a month or so.
And that's a month too long.
It has.
I mean, I love Spencer. He knows that. But come on.
Come on.
It's the chairman.
Come on.
It's great to see you today.
Good to see you.
Let's do a market update, and then let's talk about the second worst thing you can do in a bear market. We'll actually talk about the first thing, too. But focus on the second thing.
Which you talked about last week.
Which we talked about last week. And we'll reiterate today, and then we'll bring into that second thing. But the market update, as of today, what's the date today? August 2nd? 3rd? 4th? 3rd? August 3rd. The S&P 500 is down 12.64% on the year. The NASDAQ is down 18.78%. So that's where we stand so far this year, which is significantly different than it was a month ago.
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
June 16th. Okay, so let's talk about the worst thing you can do in a bear market. Spencer and I addressed it last week, and that is when the pain gets bad enough. I just want to take a break from the market.
Take a break.
I want to sell what I got, and I want to take a break, and I want to wait for the dust to settle, and I want to just have peace in my life.
Yeah. Sit on the sidelines.
That's a good one. Sit on the sideline.
Yeah.
Why is that a mistake, Brian?
Well, we'll talk about this in just a minute, but if you look at what the market's done over the last 6 weeks, that's clearly a mistake. And if you're invested in stocks, you should be a long-term investor, and what happens today or tomorrow or the next week in the market, up or down, shouldn't really affect whether or not you're in or out of stocks. I always like to quote, Mr. Buffett, and one of the things he said about owning stocks is if you're going to do stupid things when stock prices go down, you shouldn't own stocks. And what he means by stupid things is sell your stocks when they go down. And
yep.
And the last 6 weeks is good evidence to why you don't sell when things are down. You should think about the opposite of that. So when prices are down,
which is buy.
Mm-hmm.
So the rally off the lows that you're talking about. Now, nobody knew June 16th, and we still don't know.
And we didn't know at that point.
We didn't know. We don't know. It may or may not be the low.
Right.
Right, but on June 16th, the S&P 500 was down 22.8%. The NASDAQ was down 31.8%, which is significant bear market. Since then, the NASDAQ has rallied 19.04% and the S&P 13.16%, which is a decent rally.
Right, very good rally.
So is June 16th the bottom? Who knows?
We don't know.
I'm knock on wood, right? But you never know.
I was in a client meeting yesterday, and the customer asked me that very question: have we hit bottom? Has the market bottomed out? And I told him I don't know the answer to that question, but I told him the way we're looking at it over the next 3 years, 5 years. We feel like if you were to put money to work today, or if you're invested today, you'll look back 3 years, 5 years from now, and glad you've stayed invested, And
Yep.
So I think he accepted that. So
here's the hard part, and I want to put this in dollar terms, because when you hear returns, it clicks. But for some people, hey, show me the money. So if you would have invested $10,000 on January 1st. Then that money on June 16th, if you would have invested in the S&P 500, you would have $7,720. Okay, that stinks.
right.
But if you would have invested in tech-heavy stocks on June 16th, that $10,000 becomes $6,821.
Really stinks.
Just that number 6,
Yeah.
right? It's close to 7, 6821. But just that number 6 wreaks havoc
Yeah.
on you psychologically.
And when you're in the middle of it, I mean, you're invested, and it's your own money. It's natural for your brain to go to places that are even worse, saying, well, what if it does that again?
Yep.
Goes down another 30% nearly or
Which
over.
is what most of the headlines are saying.
Right. I mean, people were talking about that.
S&P 2500 or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's that's where people's minds go, and I would suggest that that's not how you should be thinking about it.
So today, that same $10,000 invested in the S&P, remember 7720 was where it was. Well, 2 months later, month and a half later, you have 8,738. So you've made up a little over $1,000, which is 10% on your 10,000.
Yeah,
That's a significant bump
it is.
just by kind of doing nothing,
Yeah.
right? Well, investing on January 1st. Here's the crazy part. The NASDAQ, that 10,000, remember, dropped to 6,800, is now 8,122, which is a change of 1,300 or 13% of that original $10,000.
Yeah.
That's a big move. If you're missing that move, if this is the bottom, that's why it's the first big mistake to make in a bear market.
Yeah, it is. It's a big mistake.
So, and Spencer and I talked about it in last week's podcast or 2 weeks podcast. If you haven't listened to that, please do, because we discuss all the stats with missing out on these important rallies and what happens if you sell. And really, does it even matter trying to time the market? So we talk about that. But let's talk about the second big mistake, Brian, and this is what a lot of people do, and I'm going to blame the headlines. And I have a headline here that I'll read in a second. But let's talk about the second biggest mistake first. That is having cash available to invest, but being too scared to invest. Do you know anybody like that?
I know a lot of people like that.
What happens? Like, why would that be a mistake? Is having cash in a bear market, you see your 10,000 go to 6,800, and you don't want to invest anymore because you just got fried. Why is that a mistake?
Right. Well, it's an opportunity. A missed opportunity is what it is. And you and I were talking earlier, 2008. And us recently, just, I asked you, have we had any clients? I haven't had any customers tell me that they've sold through this latest downturn. I think we've had one that you know of,
Yeah,
that sold, and we tried to talk them out of it, but
yep,
couldn't do that. But it's a missed opportunity when you have, that's the beauty of the stock market, is it's a curse and a blessing. You get a daily price on how your stocks are doing. And for some, that's a curse. For most people, that's actually a curse. For some people, like Warren Buffett, that can stand aside, gather their nerves, and be calm and logical and reasonable and think, okay, here's a stock that's down 50% or 30%. I liked it when it was 30 or 40% higher, and the value then, and now it's 30 or 40% cheaper. Why don't I like it today? And a guy with a rational mind that sits back and calms his nerves and looks at that and says, this is an opportunity that I should take advantage of, and he does it. But unfortunately, most people aren't able to do that. They said, and to our credit to our customers, very few of our customers sell when stock prices go down. Very, very few.
very few.
In 2008, 2009, during the great financial crisis, I can't recall any of our clients selling at that time. On the flip side, I don't recall very many of those clients calling me up, or when I would talk to them, I'd say, now would be a good time to put a little more money to work. These are incredible prices, and we'll get through this. I can recall a couple clients putting money in the market to take advantage of those opportunities, but that was few and far between. Most people,
why is that?
Most people, it's the ostrich move. They put their head in the sand, And when, in fact, these clients that were in yesterday, they says, well, I asked him, how are you doing? How are you handling this market volatility? He says, well, we just don't look at it very much anymore. And I've heard that so much.
Which is better than getting freaked out all the time and selling.
Exactly.
But on the flip side, by not paying attention, you don't know. I mean, the S&P was down, what did I say, almost 23%. The NASDAQ down over 30%.
Yeah.
That's a great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity.
To buy great businesses at phenomenal prices.
It is. And to their credit, in case they're listening, they did put some more money in yesterday.
There you go.
So that's to their
credit. I feel like in a bear market, people hang on. And they wait for, you ready for this? The dust to settle before they feel good about putting money in.
Yeah.
When the reality is, when you're the most nervous and scared, that's the best time to put it in.
That is the best
time.
But
it's hard. Why is it so hard?
Well, let me just say that the reason that's the best time to put money in when it's the hardest is that's when the prices are the most attractive. When it's the scariest, that's when the prices are the cheapest and most attractive. But why is it so hard? I think the reasons that it's so hard is because we have this. It's fight or flight. The
psychology.
The psychology of losing money, and people automatically go to a place where they think, well, I'm down 20%. Maybe I can handle that, but barely. But if it goes down another 20%, I can't do that. And so they just want to pull back or draw back, or now they don't look at it. They don't even think about putting new money to work. And really, that's the thing. That's the way you should be thinking about it, is buy when prices are attractive, but yet very few people do that.
Here's what would have happened, that same $10,000, what it would be today, if you would have invested on June 16th, which, look, it's hard to time the bottom. So I don't want to say we're going to do it.
You can't do that, yeah.
But in the NASDAQ, you'd have $11,910, so almost $12,000. The S&P, you'd have $11,330. So at the scariest point, which was June 16th.
So far.
Thank you. What a phenomenal time to invest.
It was another $1,000 you said you put in, or?
No, the same a new $10,000.
Oh, a new $10,000. Yeah.
You would have had that. That would be an interesting. If you put in another 1,000 or another 5,000.
You might be positive on the year. Not. You'd have made $100. You'd made $100 or so, 13%.
Yeah, close to around break even.
Yeah.
But we have had some new clients put money in their accounts. I mean, anytime you can buy Amazon for $105, now it's at $130, right? Those are the opportunities we're talking about.
Why is it that when groceries go on sale, when bread, milk, eggs, gasoline goes on sale, everybody gets excited, but when stocks go on sale, people get scared?
I don't know.
Why is that?
Because the pain of losing $1 far exceeds the pain or the joy of making $1.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Psychology. So what advice would you give to people right now that have had their heads in the sand and have kind of been a little bit nervous, but do have cash?
Well, of course, we always tell people that they need to have short-term reserves. Whatever their needs are, liquid or cash needs over the next 3-6 months. And if you're not sure about that, talk to Spencer, talk to Matthew, and they can talk to you about what's the appropriate level for you as far as having cash reserves. But beyond that, if you have money that you don't think you'll need over the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's the money you should be thinking about investing. And this lady that was in yesterday, I asked her, I said, so what's, she has more money coming in than she's spending, and so it's just accumulating in her bank account. I says, what's the ultimate goal with this money? She says, well, it's going to go to my daughter, so it's not really for you. And I says, well, your daughter will thank you, 20 years down the road when she inherits this money. I didn't say 20 years, but 20, however long she'll live, 20, 30 years down the road, your daughter will thank you that you didn't put it under the mattress, that you actually invested it and grew this money for her at some point. And so I think we have a lot of clients in that situation where, in fact, a common question that we get all the time is, well, I'm not going to be here in 10 years. Maybe it's somebody that's in their 90s or late 80s. I'm not going to be here in 10 or 15 years. And should I get out of the market? And sometimes the answer to that question is, well, you may not need the money, but your kids or those that will inherit this money, they will appreciate that you didn't put it in cash and just left it there and let inflation eat away at its value over time.
Yep. It's planning for the future. What's this money for?
Right. And you're great at asking questions. You ask that all the time.
So here's what's going to happen. As soon as people hear this podcast, they're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to avoid number 2. I'm going to put some cash to work. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. You're going to be driving down the road, listening to the AM radio or your podcast or turn on the news, and you're going to hear this headline. Top analyst says bear market is not over. Predicts another 15% decline before the market can bottom. You're going to hear that. You might hear, this has the chance to be the worst recession since 2008. I don't know, whatever the headline is. And guess what it's going to do? If you let it, it's going to paralyze you, and it's going to freak you out. Don't let it. I'm telling you what's going to happen before it happens. Don't let it.
If you go to any financial website, I don't care if it's Google, Yahoo,
financial porn,
CNBC, any financial website, and you just keep paging down or look on the side column, there'll be an article out there. Some analyst predicts 50% decline, or Dr. Doom says, it's going to be another 30 or 40% down. I've done this long enough that I ignore that. And sometimes we have clients forward these articles and these little articles to us, and they're not helpful. They're not helpful at all. And 99% of the time they're wrong.
Yep.
So
they're right once a decade.
You just ignore it. You ignore it. You look at good business. We're broken record. Look at great businesses. Invest long term. Yeah. People that get nervous. This client that sold that you were talking to, if she would have just looked at her businesses, I think, or I'm sure you talked to her about this, but
yeah,
we own Amazon and so on, great businesses. And think 3, 5, and 10 years down the road. Tell me.
Yeah.
Where's Amazon going to be? And this is not a recommendation for Amazon. I got to say that, but just think in those terms. You own great businesses. Quit worrying about the day-to-day ups and downs in the market.
Amen, brother.
Okay,
that's it. Don't get paralyzed. If you have money to invest, there's still, even with the rally that we've had, there's some great businesses on sale right now.
Well, still, a lot of businesses are still down 20, 30%.
Yep.
Great businesses, by the way.
With that, my friends, I hope you learned something new. Avoid that second mistake. So there's your first and second mistake in a bear market not to make. Until next time, bye-bye.